Hi, this chapter is chapter 3 on mental health and stress. I like to compare mental health and stress to the game of golf. When you're playing golf and you have a partner, or even by yourself, there are several holes that you have to come against every single day, like in daily life, that give you different challenges. Mental health and stress has a lot to do with how you handle those challenges, and good and bad shots. So we're going to explore some of the things that mental health and stress go through. What is mental health? Mental health in recent years, psychologists have become interested in what's called positive psychology. Okay, you're the golfer, and you're golfing at a hole, and you get a really good shot. You focus on positive emotions, characteristics, and strengths, what you did your last swing, and you try to repeat that swing. And the six virtues that this chapter gives you enable human thriving: wisdom, courage, humanity, justice, temperance, and transcendence. These are all properties of what a golfer can go through as far as his next shot. The characteristics of healthy people, you can see again, the golfer looks at what is he going to do or wants to do in order to achieve the goal of the next shot. And here we have many, many aspects. Maybe some of you can recognize some of them. Maybe some are altruistic. Maybe some of you demonstrate social competence in relationships. Maybe you want to golf alone. Maybe some of you are not overwhelmed by emotions where one bad shot can send you reeling. These are all characteristics that we show each and every day. The key characteristics of mental health are self-actualization, optimism, self-efficiency, and resilience. And you can see again, golf plays a big, big role in this kind of thing. Self-actualization is the top of the state of mind, something attained when a person has reached his or her full potential. You can imagine people like Abraham Lincoln or Eleanor Roosevelt, people who have been self-actualized through their own givings towards society. Maslow had a good hierarchy of needs on this. He showed that self-actualization was really driven from physiological needs. That is, we start with the need of food and water as soon as we're born, and we go up the ladder: safety and security, love and belonging, self-esteem, and then self-actualization. Emotional intelligence deals with the idea of being able to control the bad shot. Here we have the golfer again, takes a bad shot. Is he emotionally or is she emotionally able to get the qualities such as self-awareness, self-discipline in order to have the next shot of being a good one? People who are emotionally intelligent can recognize, name, and understand their emotions. They manage their emotions and they motivate themselves. Again, what you see for the next shot is very important. Enhancing your mental health. Several factors are related to development of mental health. Supportive social network, good communication skills. Are you better golfing alone, or are you better golfing with someone else? Does it help you to golf with somebody positive? A lot of these things can make a difference. The brain's role in mental health has many, many aspects to our body. Mental illnesses are diseases that affect the brain. Also, physical illnesses can affect the brain. Since the 80s, knowledge of the structure and function of the brain has increased dramatically. We now know through CAT scans, PET scans, MRIs. They allow for many new discoveries that by researchers in the areas of mental disorders and the physiology of the brain. The teenage brain is a rather unusual one in that it's not fully developed. Many people think it's done, but it's not. A teenage brain has its core rewired twice. First time between 7 and 9 years old, somewhere around there, and the second time just after puberty. A growth spurt in adolescence occurs in the frontal cortex where the executive functions of planning, organization, and ranking, rational thinking are controlled. The teenage brain is basically almost all emotional, so therefore they act emotional. The teenage brain has the frontal cortex, as you can see on the diagram there, that controls planning, organizing, rational thinking, working memory, and everything else. Well, because the emotional part of their brain is the only thing developed, that's the only part of the brain that they can count on. Even though the oblongata, the corpus callosum, and the cerebellum have vital parts, they're not fully developed yet. Mental disorders in the brain, there are many, many patterns. The pattern of behavior that is associated with distress or pain or with significant increase of suffering, death, pain, disability, or loss of freedom. A mental disorder is different from a psychological disorder that it can be considered normal and it can be diagnosed from a set of symptoms. Mood disorders. Those are depressive or affective disorders, among the most common mental disorders around the world. More than 200 million adults in the United States suffer from depressive illnesses. And of course, when you're a golfer and you're in that bad hole, you're not thinking about the next hole where you can do well. A lot of mood disorders can be affect the whole round of golf. Anxiety disorders, as here we have the fear of certain things, panic attacks, phobias. Let's say I hit a shot into the sand. Do I have a phobia against the sand, or hit one near the water? Is the water going to affect my shot? These are very similar and aligned with social phobias or people that are obsessive compulsive. Addictions. Those are continued compulsive behavior despite serious negative consequences that people get into. Something that they can't help are like drugs, cigarettes, coffee, whatever. They can be the outside influences. Withdrawal symptoms occur when substance use stops also. What we're addicted to, substances and behaviors. And you can see the list of them go on. And very common, the most common, of course, a drug ever used in the world is nicotine, simply from a simple cigarette. Caffeine is the next. But you can see on the line here, those are the low end of the speed spectrum. They still do count because they're so abused. Schizophrenia and other psychotic disorders are really much more advanced. Disorders characterized by delusions, maybe hallucinations, disorganized speech. Schizophrenia has a strong genetic component, so if a parent is usually schizophrenic, there might be a good chance that the child may be also. The mental disorders and suicide is pretty much the result of what can happen. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among college students in the area between 18 and 28 years old. About 6% of college-age students seriously consider suicide, and about 1% attempt to kill themselves through cutting, hanging, shooting themselves. In fact, as you know, in our campus alone, we had one last year, which is, obviously very detrimental to the campus in itself. What leads to suicide? Many things. Back to the golfing again. You can say to yourself, well, I just can't do this game anymore, and I'm going to give up. And that's exactly what it means. It means people who are suffering from a disorder, and often depression, and alcoholism may be a factor, or maybe there's some sort of particular in someone's life that the substance abuse can also influence the behaviors. Potential signs of suicide: comments about death, a change in habits, intensified moodiness, increase in risk-taking behaviors, sudden improvement in mood, and accompanied by certain behaviors such as giving away their possessions out of nowhere. These could be signs. Self-injury, cutting, burning, scratching. Again, we've gone through a little bit through that, but you can see there's many ways people can go through all that. Treating mental disorders through psychotherapy and medications are the most modern of today. They're not what we call the end-all, the be-all, the one that's going to solve it, but they are the ones that are at the end, the ones that do help us as the degree of disease goes on.